The year was 1888 when an old country doctor drove into a town and quietly slipped into a drugstore by the back door. For more than an hour behind a prescription counter, the old doctor and the drug clerk whispered quietly. Afterwards, the doctor went outside and brought back a large old-fashioned kettle and a big wooden paddle. Wow, so this is it? Yes, sir. This is what I was telling you about. The clerk inspected the kettle, reached into his pocket and handed over to the doctor exactly $500. The doctor in return handed over a small slip of paper that had important instruction that was needed to get the syrup in the kettle to start boiling. Later on, as the clerk began to use his kettle with the secret formula, he decided to add his own additional unique ingredient to the kettle, which caused the kettle to start gushing out gold. At first, unknowingly, what he added into the kettle was something very special, which not only brought great fortune for himself, but it also changed our entire world. Are you curious to know what exactly happened? Let's find out together, coming up. Hey there, what you just saw was a glimpse of the fifth principle in action from Think and Grow Rich, which changed a young man's business into a life of riches, and it can change yours too. We'll get back into the story of the enchanted kettle, of what happened next, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that out. Now that we're in chapter 6 of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill starts by having you observe the history of the human race. Think about it. Think about how much we have accomplished with so many extreme challenges and how we brought ideas into reality that were once deemed as impossible. Napoleon Hill wrote, as quote, "Ideas are the beginning points of all fortunes. Ideas are the products of the imagination." That's right. The fifth step to riches is imagination. As Hill calls it, imagination is the workshop of the mind. This is where ideas are conceived that later can be converted into practical plans of action, which ultimately can create wealth. So then, how do we utilize this principle? Napoleon Hill shows us in this chapter that our imaginative faculty functions into two forms. The first form is called synthetic imagination. This is used most often and commonly for arranging old concepts, ideas, or plans into new combinations. The second form is called creative imagination. This is used for creating something from nothing. It's like creating a never before unheard of original idea. This usually happens when you get quote unquote inspirations or hunches from what Napoleon Hill calls infinite intelligence. This also could be known as inspiration from God over the course of human history. Creative imagination was used by many great leaders of business, industry, finances, and by great artists, musicians, poets, and writers. Now, you shouldn't assume that synthetic imagination isn't as useful because it does have a ton of uses. Napoleon Hill is just saying you must keep in mind down the road you may face circumstances that require you to think outside the box, which can demand the use of creative imagination. So, to make this practical for beginners, Napoleon Hill suggests starting out with developing your synthetic imagination. For example, if you want to learn how to create wealth, look for ideas that have been proven to work and try it yourself. In other words, arranging old ideas and concepts into your own business. Later on, when you start to gain experience, you can start exploring with creative imagination by adding your own twist and original ideas to your own business that can help it become more unique and appealing. Lastly, Hill says the more you explore your synthetic and creative imagination, it works like a muscle, so it will develop better and become more alert over time to newer and better ideas. Creative imagination may not always occur, but it happens spontaneously. There are many stories of people that had spontaneous ideas from a random dream they had or while they were taking a shower. So if this ever occurs to you, you should immediately write down the idea to bring it one step closer to reality. Now let's get back into finishing the Enchanted Kettle story to see how this principle worked. Whoever you are, wherever you may live, whatever occupation you may be engaged in, just remember in the future, every time you see the words Coca-Cola, you'll know that its vast empire of wealth and influence grew out because of this principle. That mysterious ingredient the drug clerk Asa Candler mixed in with turned out to be imagination. When Asa Candler applied this principle, new ideas of how to distribute and market a drink began to overflow from his mind that the doctor never thought of before. Examples of what he did is he came up with a variety of unique marketing strategies, like using bright red Coca-Cola banners in streets, cars, newspapers, and he even made sure delivered Coca-Cola barrels were colored bright red to grab people's attention. And he was the first to come up with the idea of using coupons for a free glass of Coca-Cola at bars. This all proved to be super successful, and now Coca-Cola has created a giant ripple effect that made thousands of jobs and business opportunities to people all over the world. This all started because of ideas conceived by imagination. Napoleon Hill wrote as, quote, "Our only limitation within reason lies in the development and use of our imagination." Up next, stay tuned to the next principle that will be in the following chapter called Organized Planning. Also, little reminder, if you haven't already, you could always start this book for free thanks to Audible. Link down below. If you enjoyed this series so far, please like and subscribe and click that bell notification, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.